Munster already assured of a grand final meeting with Leinster. 7 changes for Munster from last weekend's interprovincial win over Connacht here at Thomond Park. 2 of those coming in that forward pack. John Klein and Jack O'Sullivan in for Jack O'Donoghue and Chris Cloutier. A first Thomond Park start in 26 months tonight for Joey Carbery. A massive boost, though Munster's keenness not to overburden their talismanic talent demonstrated perhaps by JJ Hanrahan's selection at inside centre. The visitors' starting 15 shows 3 changes from last week's dramatic win over Edinburgh, a fortnight ago rather. Aaron Shingler's return from an inflammatory health problem, a massive boost to the Welsh Wales region. No Dan Jones, so Angus O'Brien is in at fly half tonight for a much changed Scarlets side, missing quite a few of their marquee players, of course, off on international duty, but plenty to play for Steph Hughes and his Scarlets team. And they know that victory tonight could potentially this weekend secure a 3rd spot in Conference B, and with it a place in next season's Champions Cup. That, though, will depend on how Cardiff and Edinburgh fare tomorrow night in their respective trips to Benetton and Connacht. 7 wins and 7 defeats for Glendolini's side, and it started with that late last gasp defeat to Munster. You may recall at Parky Scarlets back in October in round 1. Munster scoring 14 points in the last 12 minutes as they snatched victory courtesy of that 50-metre cannon boot penalty from Ben Healy. Scarlets would go on then to lose 3 of their next 4 matches, and Munster capitalised on that win in West Wales to win 7 in a row, which put them in prime position to go on and win the conference, which they have now done, and secure that final spot. Their first final since losing in the final at the Aviva to the Scarlets back in 2017. The Scarlets did win here at Thomond Park on their way to winning the Pro 12 that year in 2017. Munster, though, have played over 50 games in Limerick since then in all competitions, and Leinster the only side to beat them here. Just a 5th start at Thomond Park for Joey Carbery since arriving here from Leinster 2.5 years ago it is now, and he's won all previous 4. Sean Gallagher in charge tonight. Interesting to hear Johan van Graan talking about Joey Carbery pre-game, though, very much about managing expectation around his talents.
Just give us 1 second. Brian, let us know when we're good to go.
And I'll tell you about the wind and the rain here at Thomond Park tonight. They're having to dismantle some of the banners even up in the sanctuary of the stand. It has been absolutely biblical rain here for the last 45 minutes. It's eased considerably as we get underway at Thomond Park. Extremely testing conditions for both sets of players, though, and it really will impact the game plan. We spoke about the dual playmaker of Joey Carbery and JJ Hanrahan, but it's a needs must kind of night, Liam Tolan, where players will have to adapt on the hoof, and there'll be plenty of kicking.
Well, it's a very exciting selection, isn't it? It's brilliant to see Carbery back, but it's also great to see JJ at 12, just to see how that creative brace are going to do. But in combinations, you keep an eye out for the Scarlets back row. There's some serious big hitters in there, so it's going to be an interesting game, and the line out is going to be a big focus for Munster, obviously, considering last week.
Yeah, all the problems really started from that area of the game against Connacht last week. That's a good early effort from Mark Jones, hitting his target in the first kick in anger inside the opening 60 seconds, and it's a light bounce just inside that Munster half of the field. And
Lost forward.
I thought James Cronin pouncing the ball brilliantly there. He had a mighty game last weekend, so it'd be great to see him back up that as well. So it's going to be a really interesting game, because as you said, the weather is atrocious. The ducks are definitely chirping here in Thomond Park. So expect for those at home to see a lot of spills and skipping balls and a lot of mistakes. Through no fault of the players, but the conditions are that bad.
Yes, James Cronin in really good form in this particular part of the season. Cronin, Scannell and Stephen Archer, same front row for Munster from last week against Connacht, and it's Stephen Thomas, Mark Jones and Peter Schultz, the South African tight head for tonight's visitors.
To keep more space. Yeah, both of you. Second rows, keep that space. Same for you guys, we need to keep a gap.
Like Scarlets need a result here, don't they? Certainly with a couple of games left, they need a result to to qualify for Europe next year, so it's a big game for them.
Crouch!
Yeah, plenty still riding on the next couple of games for them. Cardiff chasing hard in Edinburgh, currently in 4th in the conference, but with a couple of games in hand. Good win 2 weeks ago for the Scarlets against Edinburgh away from home. Dramatic game full of really good, well-taken tries.
It's interesting to see Mike Haley, the full-back for Munster, his reaction. Sometimes in these conditions, having the ball is a burden. He judged the width of the pitch perfectly, didn't he? Allow the ball to bounce into touch.
He was so good last week in every facet of his play. Not least the try, that lovely little left-footed chip over the top of Tiernan O'Halloran, took his try beautifully.
Looking at Angus O'Brien, the out half for Cardiff, or for Scarlet, standing in the hooker slot there, well away from the defensive position.
All the way over the top from the line-out and taken by Damien Deolandi.
Stop!
22 defenders beaten for the Springbok World Cup winner this season. Puts on top of the stats for Munster.
Yeah, they're all on.
Carberry.
Good.
Carry back with good intent, and they go to that blind side. Can the Scarlets get some kind of advantage? There's again just an indication of the difficulty around the conditions.
Just some, I think Australia started this ploy. You see the Scarlets out half standing in the hooker slot. It's obviously a defensive ploy.
That's what we want on that last one. Same again.
One of the obvious ways to kind of expose that is to take a midfield hit and then to rewind down the tram tracks and ask him to make a defensive tackle anyway. But already you can see kind of the intent of the ball carriers. They're not looking for that offload. They're looking to try and pump through the tackle and hit the deck. Again, an indication of respecting the conditions.
Set! Staying up!
Nick McCarthy in its scrum half tonight for Munster. Paddy Patterson on the bench, potential Munster debut for him. Here's Carberry with a touch finder over on that far side. Judged it to perfection. Premium field position now for Munster inside the opening 5 minutes here, thanks to the boot of Carberry.
4.
Absolutely pin perfect. Look at the skid when it hits the deck. Like if you're coming in to try and judge the bounce and try and take it on the half volley, it's a difficult skill.
Pressure for Jones and good read at the front, and Munster have turned it over courtesy of Billy Holland. Now they're set. Klein and Holland in the second row. Finn and Wycherley going to the blindside flank tonight. Ball a little bit slow coming to McCarthy. Here is the aforementioned Wycherley.
No, he's okay.
Scarlets slowing it down, but nothing untoward in the eyes of the referee, Sean Gallagher. Carried again this time by Archer. Quicker ball now for McCarthy, and can they profit from that as they get it for the first time into the hands of Gavin Coombs, who can be so destructive from that kind of range. Oh, that's clever. That's neatly worked. It's an opportunity for Hanrahan, and the tracking back of Johnny McNichol had to be absolutely pin perfect, and it was.
That's a lovely skill set option, isn't it? Really focuses your fringe defenders. They don't know what to do. Do they come up or do they expect a kick? But great cover from the Scarlet full back as well. Lovely line out steal, wasn't it, for Billy Holland? Vertical jump. He beat the jump.
Inside. Stop. 13. You're on.
Kept in field from Carberry from inside his own 22. Haley underneath this one, and he timed it perfectly. He was so good last week as well against Connacht in terms of judging those dropping out of the sky. There was plenty of height on that. Mercifully, the rain has subsided. Box kicking from just in behind that Munster 10-metre line is McCarthy. Angus O'Brien, has he Judge that right down into that far corner. Almost stopping. Now Healy from the pass from Coombs.
Inside.
And this time it is a touch finder.
This is wonderful commanding of the air, isn't it, from the Munster full-back? Of course, we expect that, don't we? So the accuracy, the kicking, avoiding him doing this. But this is a beautiful vertical jump for Holland. Just beats it. Like the ball was a little bit low from a Scarlets point of view. But Holland doesn't mind that. A great lift and a great spring. Good attacking platform for the visitors here.
You're on the line. Good.
This will show you the little bit of intent in the conditions to have a line out on the 10 metres this way with a full, it's a shortened line out. So it's going to be...
Well, they used Sam Lucy, the Tongan. Oh, there's right through the centre now. Beautiful opportunity here. Blacker still going. He's been in scintillating form. Prolific try scorer this season. Leads the charts for the Scarlets in that dimension, and he was almost all the way through there. He's got plenty of pace. Nice step on him too, Dane Blacker.
No balls there, play it.
No way Archer can get out of there. Scarlets looking for the penalty. Sean Gallagher says no, but they carry on. This time it's Gavin Coombs on the wrong side, but they come again. They're looking threatening. Straight in front of the Munster post inside the opening 10 minutes here, but it's James Cronin with hands on, and he's adjudged to be in a good position, legal, and it's turnover time for Munster.
Okay.
So Cronin gets Munster out of a very sticky situation created by that great burst from Dane Blacker. Five tries in his last 6 games, and he's got a lovely step.
I'll get to that at the next stoppage, Rob.
Just that little bit of impatience and just poor technique, wasn't it? But this is beautiful. I won't lie, I didn't see where the Scarlet scrum half came out of, but there were so many options available to him. He just tricked, didn't he? He laid the trap and he kept the ball, carried it in 2 hands, and he just tricked. But I didn't see it in real time where he came out of. Beautiful half break.
A little show and go certainly deceived Jack O'Sullivan.
Another short line out. It's all short line out so far.
Looking for Billy Holland, and it's been executed really well.
Still more. Line out over. That's 1-9.
2 or 3 times in the Edinburgh game a fortnight ago, Scarlets were found wanting in terms of their mouldy. Interesting to see if Munster capitalise on those positions when they're a little bit further advanced in the field as the evening wears on. 10 minutes in, we await the first score.
Outside. Get up, lads. Use it! It's outside, taken back.
Blacker in position, carried back in, so he keeps it in field. This time it's O'Sullivan underneath it. McCarthy now. John Klein, he's so powerful in that situation. Good latch as well from Finn and Wycherley, the two working in tandem. The little switch now from Carberry.
Off the foot, play.
Ball is there for Dealandi with that unfamiliar 13 shirt on his back. McCarthy snaps back to his feet and gets Munster moving again. Jack O'Sullivan in for Chris Klutze tonight on that open side flank for Munster. And that's been pinched by Jack Morgan. He's the turnover king for the Scarlets. And what can they manufacture here out in the wide channels? Blacker now to try and get his side moving on the front foot. Again, Munster players trying to time that jackal position. Gavin Coombs couldn't quite get hands on. Blacker goes to the air again. A little bit too much distance on it, and this time it's play. Healy looking to get Munster moving. Daly needs no second invitation down that side. His chase is good, the pressure on. Good cover from Blacker, but he's running out of pitch.
Onside, Red.
Resources
Onside.
there in time. That's good cover from the scrum half.
Don't hold him in.
Fairly frantic opening 12 minutes.
Use
Ball in
it.
play time very
Go
high.
back 5.
Heap of bodies over on that far touch side. That's not the greatest clearance kick, is it?
Just we've seen some lovely touches from Carberry so far off the
Scarlets
foot, but
on
look
the
at him
line.
in the screen here, hunting for the tackle, great timing, makes the hit, tackles a man, no fuss, back
Just
up
get
on
your
his feet.
timing right
Lovely
now.
to see a re-entry with
Timing
all the
right.
skills, but that type of hunger and technique is pretty special too.
Well, he was barely on the pitch at the Arms Park in Cardiff for 2 minutes when he was absolutely emptied out of it by Ray Lila,
Stay
wasn't
Joey.
he? But straight back up to
10.
his feet.
Good.
There's nearly every
Stay
Munster
10.
player in the park is in the lineup. Look at the jersey numbers, 12 at the tail.
As I said, Edinburgh got good purchase off their attacking maul a couple of weeks ago.
Advantage in the air.
Wycherley was taken too early. Now can they get good
Advantage, Red.
cohesion
Play
and
the
a
ball in the air.
good body position? There's certainly plenty of bodies in there. They're funneling it back. Allende still got his hands on it, I think. Now
Another
Scannell has
advantage,
it.
Side entry 1.
A couple of penalties there, and they drive over, and Munster maybe have the opening try of the game here.
We're going back to the penalty.
Not quite. Held up over the try line. It was
First
Niall
penalty,
Scannell, but
slapping the ball in the air. Second penalty, 1 side entry. Yeah, you slapped it in the air, 1 side entry. No, it was too far out for me. The 2 offences happened about 4 metres out.
I know Scarlets are approaching line-out defence differently than Connacht last week, but you've got to tip your hat to the Munster management of the line-out this week, because they've nailed every single
step.
throw. They've had huge variety in the
that
line-out.
space,
Short
6.
line-outs. In this case, they had about 20 players in the line-out. Numbers 12 and numbers 13 there too. So really, really big change in how they're managing their line-out
Come in,
this
Munster, if
week.
you're coming in.
And you sense that if Scarlets don't win that first nudge,
Turnover.
that they're going to be under
Maul!
pressure.
well,
That's
that's one
another
way
way
to
to
stop
9,
it.
go
Yep.
back! 9! 9!
Straight
9,
into
go
the
back.
arms of the very grateful recipient,
Use
Aaron
it.
Shingler, on that occasion. And
5, don't change.
if Scarlets can exit effectively here, that's a real opportunity gone and wasted from a Munster point of view. The
Good.
long limbs of Finn and Wycherley almost grappling it back, but they're still going to be inside their own 22 here.
So this seemed to be kind of a malfunction. There was a complete confusion. See, none of the Munster players, they were like Keystone Cops bumping into each other, none who to lift. So after all we've seen thus far, which was perfect, and then there was confusion. Born to get this right again. Like Scarlets did nothing to earn that one. It was just a complete malfunction for Munster.
Well, let's see if the little executive meeting has rectified the problem. Scannell poised once more
Maul!
to the front, and
Keep it simple.
Jean
Stay.
Klein.
Line out over. Don't change. That's 1's 9.
Scannell still has hands on, and they're beginning to get a little bit of forward momentum now. McCarthy, Allende,
lovely.
oh, it's lovely hands. Carberry had the option outside of JJ Hanrahan, kept ball in hand. Munster now up to 5 metres. Cronin in try-scoring form, dotted down against Connacht last week. Here's the tight head now from the loose head. Archer.
No, he let it
Munster
go.
very
Still on the
close,
right side.
looking ominous.
Onside.
Klein waits. Niall Scannell poised to latch on, and off goes Klein.
Space. Good.
17th minute of the game on the secondary drive.
Tackle 3. Tackle.
Can Munster force their way over? We've seen Gavin Coombs do it so many times from this kind of
Advantage,
position.
5 Gray
Is he about to
offside.
do it again? Coombs is very, very close. Ball is right there on the line. They just can't get it down now. And there it is.
Okay, it's just knocked on here. We're going back to the penalty.
Well, they were playing with the advantage, much to Munster's relief, having knocked it
5
on the
offside.
floor. But again, Scarlets
Okay.
giving
5
away the
offside.
penalty.
Yeah, it was.
Like
but
this is
your
a
player
lovely
let the ball go
pirouette
before
from
he got it back
Allende,
to
isn't
his
it? And
side.
then the offload. But watch Carberry comes in. He looks the pass. He's the presence of mind to keep going forward, maintains possession.
So
Beautiful
Charlie,
skills
what's
from
your
9,
decision?
13 and then on to 12.
Yeah. Just wait a
Like
second.
Carby did really, really well here. Didn't throw an off. There wasn't an option there available. He still gets the forward ball, and then Munster go in. If there one criticism I'd have is I think when Cronin gets on the ball, he needs to be latched on immediately. He's going into heavy traffic by himself, and big enough as he is, he still needs a bit of weight behind him. So you mentioned latch in commentary earlier on. If they can get that on timing just before he makes contact, I think they'll get greater purchase and they'll force that score.
No, it's okay.
I think if Joey Carberry had got an extra 6 inches of purchase on that kick, it would have gone dead. It was very, very close.
Take a small step. Good.
So short line out again.
Mo!
Holland this time. He almost had to bump Morgan Jones out of the way. Now they're just almost tracking infield first of all. Scannell now, there's a little bit of traffic in the way. Scannell surely now. And has he got it down in the end? That's brilliant work to hold that up. Absolutely superb. It looked all the money in the world as though that was going to be the first try of the evening. Somehow, Jack Morgan got his body in the way, and the open side flanker has saved the day there for Scarlets.
Yeah, I don't know. I think certainly Billy Holland is asking the question. He thinks it was on the deck. It looked a bit clumsy because Scannell lost his body position, his ideal body position coming in here. But I don't think he got the touchdown. I think one of his teammates did.
Yeah. So for me, he came around and he didn't.
So he transfers the ball there, Scannell.
But I understand your point.
One last question.
Yeah.
If he didn't change his mind, how did he get his hands on our hooker and move all the way around?
He was okay for me. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's a fair question, I think, in that situation from Billy Holland. If he didn't change his binds, or how did he manage to get his hands on our hooker who's at the back of the maul? Short diplomatic answer from the referee.
He's up, yeah.
I like the way the referee Gallagher keeps saying, don't change, as if he's talking to his son or his... Don't ever change.
Well, Munster are going to change now, having gone to the line out 3 times in a row. They're going to mix it up with the scrum now.
Yeah, we're good here.
Now this is interesting with to see what 10, 12 and 13
Same
do
again
for
on the
Munster.
setup. Stability.
There's a wonderful blend of creativity and muscle in that, isn't there?
Tom Pridey going to keep a close eye on Shane Daly on the blindside wing out there, short blindside.
Crouch!
He looks like he's angling to come open, isn't he?
He's certainly putting doubt in the minds of the Scarlet defenders. In it goes from McCarthy. Straight to the feet of Coombs.
Use it 9!
Solid scrum.
Use it 9!
Coombs now. Oh, Hanrahan. That was a little bit risky and good take in the end from Hanrahan. And now Jean Klein tries to go straight through the front door. Oh, there was a lack of pillars there just for a second, and Coombs' ball was a little bit slow to arrive to him. Now McCarthy puts it through the hands. Dialende, so powerful and strong in that position. Munster have been in this 5-metre channel for about 10 minutes now. Can they get a 5-pointer? Yes, they can. Well, it had to come, you felt, eventually, and it was always very possibly going to come from that man in picture, Gavin Coombs, with his 9th try of the season.
And it was the first time really that a Munster player, just as he made contact, look at this for skills, like this is outrageous from the Munster number 8. Huge offload here in terrible conditions, and a great pair of hands from JJ Hanrahan just to hold on to it. But each of the ball carries, the first ball carry is not getting the latch on there until this last offer. The weight came in behind. Now Coombs can nearly do it by himself. He's that good in traffic, but it's very helpful when 2 jerseys come in behind him. Good score, well earned.
Well earned and hard earned. Considerable resistance, it felt like, for the Scarlets, who were put to the pin of their collar for 10 minutes or more inside their own 22. Struck that very nicely indeed, and Joey Carberry is back in the old routine at Thomond Park in Limerick.
We'll just hold it there for a second. Yeah. Time off.
He's a wrecking ball, isn't he? softly
We're seeing a lot in the last few weeks. Team kicking off and splitting their forwards left and right.
Yeah, no worries.
Causing, in this case, Munster to force themselves into splitting their forwards left and right.
Carberry behind it from Angus O'Brien. No Dan Jones, of course. Big loss for the Scarlets tonight. That's a heavy hit on Carberry right on that Munster 10-metre line. Looks a little bit shaken up by that. In goes Finan Wycherley with the white scrum cap. Ball is there for Dane Blacker.
Well, certainly Carberry has shown no signs of fatigue. He got back up on his feet and he's gone back into the 22 as
he's covering in the backfield as we watch the Scarlets try and mount another attack here. That's Coombs all action again. Blacker once more. Gets it away this time to Shingler. So good to see him back at top level action after over a year out. Hasn't played since he played in the Six Nations test match last March, around this time last year against England. A chance for Calvin Nash to use his footwork, stopped by the Scarlets captain, Steph Hughes. Stephen Archer now for Munster.
Onside! Onside!
Call comes from McNichol. They'll try and defend off Dale Andy. Comfortable take by the Scarlets fullback.
good carry from Lucy.
8 times capped Tongan international.
He's a lump, isn't he?
He certainly is. Ever present in the World Cup for Tonga 2019.
Stepping across. 11. Clear obstruction.
So good opportunity here now for Scarlets, having been under the cosh for a long time in this game.
Well, it was a good phase, wasn't it? I think the Scarlet scrum half, Blacker, is putting some serious pressure on his out half. A couple of the last few feeds to him, he's picking it off his boots. In these conditions, it's not the most sympathetic of pass. But good phase, and it's great to see Lucy, the number 5 jerseys, carrying and hitting the gain line. He's a big unit, he's sucking in a few defenders and giving a good platform for his halfbacks to make decisions. I think there's a slight breeze in Scarlet's favour here, coming off the Mairstone end.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been swirling around all evening, but it's dissipated slightly, but it's definitely coming as we look from right to left. You don't always see those penalties given, but Sean Gallagher convinced that Shane Daly changed his line. Well, we got there in the end, struck with plenty of conviction. And over goes the penalty, and in the 25th minute, the Scarlets have their first points of the evening at Thomond Park. 7 points to 3 in Munster's favour.
And bravo to Scarlets for getting that 3 points, but they were cheap enough, weren't they? They didn't have to work overly hard to get them. It was just a crossfield kick, well covered by the Munster full back, but the little protection that was given afforded Scarlets a cheap 3 points. So that's frustrating for Munster.
Uncomplicated 22 exit from the Scarlets off the kickoff. Now Haley wants to put them back in there, or just right on the doorstep of the 22. That's good take. Callum Mafoney, haven't really seen him in action with ball in hand. He's all action, 168 tackles this season and carries for fun.
Well, he's ahead of the Ulster number 8 with Sia, isn't he? He's number 1 on the board of carries thus far.
Yep, that takes some doing. Carberry with a little bit of time, and he can be very dangerous in these kind of situations. Picks his way through the traffic. Carberry now up to that Scarlets 22. gets his pass away. Can they stop Shane Daly? Absolutely not. And there is a little bit of a flash of exactly what Munster and Irish rugby have been missing in Joey Carbery. The name of Shane Daly goes on the roster as the try scorer. But what about the assist from Joey Carbery?
There's a question on obstruction there. But that is about as glorious a counter-attack from a fielded ball from any out half I've seen this season. Just dancing through traffic. How he doesn't get absolutely smashed, I'll never know. But he just dances around. He kind of fools the way he carries. Oh, that's beautiful feet. That's ridiculous. And then knowing the absolute perfect time to offload the ball. I don't know where the obstruction is in that.
Jack O'Sullivan right at the very start. Just watch him there.
No. I don't think, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think Shane Daly. I don't think it's Shane Daly. He's carried his own line.
It's the best angle we have, so we'll show it to you one more time.
So just watch at the very start. Is it
that first Scarlets
O'Sullivan there?
No.
Is it there?
No.
But the second Scarlets player, which is Gray, number 12, does obstruct. Or sorry, just show me that one more time.
No, because
Sean, just let's look at it again, please. Because 11 red is in a position to take a pass.
No, he can take the pass, so he's fine.
It's actually Scarlet's number 12 that puts his arms around the red player.
No, but Daly can take the pass.
So
once he can take it, he's not
there that we've looked at. The first one is fine. That Bray player could have made a tackle. The second one just tackles the wrong player. So it's good, and we can award the try.
Correct. 11 red is always in a position to take a pass.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian.
Yep. Correct decision, it seems, on that replay reached in the end.
But that kind of takes away from the brilliance of what Joey Carbery did. That's just wonderful rugby.
No, I'm okay. Thanks, JP.
Mercurial, elusive feet and instinct of Joey Carbery.
But what's just amazing for a guy who's relatively small and relatively light, how he completely avoids all heavy. I've never seen someone land a smash hit on him. He just dances, and then he has the absolute perfect timing of when to suck in all the defenders and then pop the ball to a player in a better position than him. Perfect timing. Just consummate rugby. Create space and exploit space.
Ray Lilo is at this point sending you a strongly worded email from 2 weeks ago at the Arms Park where he smashed him pretty quickly, but he did get up straight away.
Well, considering the amount of time he goes into heavy traffic, it's rare that he gets smashed.
Luke McGrath at the Aviva a couple of years ago as well springs to mind, but he's a tough cookie, is Joey Carbery, and we know all about his creativity.
Do I now have to list off the thousands of times where no one tackled him? Is that what I have to do now?
More often than not, nobody can lay a glove on him. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you, Sean.
Sight for sore eyes. It's been a long time coming.
And in these conditions as well, like to be able to carry the ball on a very, very greasy surface and change angles, lovely play. Okay, we got a short line out here.
Good contest.
5-on-5. Billy Holland getting up in front of Sam Lucy at the front, and Munster have done it again. Good read.
The ball was out, he played it with his hand. Use it!
2 converted tries to a penalty as we approach half an hour gone for the conference winners.
Yeah.
Very, very tight to that far touchline. Good take from Tom Pridey. Blacker wants his forwards folding around the corner, and here they come, and a couple of heavy shoulders. That's a great carry though from Morgan. Dynamic young player with a big future, highly thought of in Wales, captain of the under-20s. Just lost in flight really for a second from O'Sullivan. Daly, yeah, just slightly forward. That was improvisation gone wrong from Munster inside their own 22.
Just a little word on Scarlet's tactics with Angus O'Brien there. Lovely crossfield kick, but you would think with the platform that Scarlets had created from the carry from Morgan, even taking into account the conditions, that there was an opportunity to keep the flow going open and hunting for space. So it just seems he's a preordained strategy to keep the ball in the far end of the pitch, ignoring sometimes better opportunities.
Finnan Wycherley in a little bit of bother being attended to, and it may be the case, so bad were the conditions right up to kick-off that those preordained ideas of field position and kicking, and it's actually not too bad at the moment.
And sometimes as well, because of those conditions and the slippy underfoot, that defensively adjusting to the ball carrier, you saw how Joey Carberry, who was just brilliant at it anyway, how difficult it was for the defenders to get a proper purchase and tackle technique on him. He got ahead, didn't he? And then, oh yeah.
Where he nearly always is, Finnan Wycherley right in the thick of the action, putting his body on the line, but that looked a little bit nasty, and they're just giving him the best of care and taking their time as they absolutely should. I think they'll be pretty happy with the opening 28 minutes.
Obviously, we haven't had one for a while, but it was down on the goal line. So if we get there again, it needs to be better.
Huge concern here, of course, for the welfare of Finnan Wycherley. A couple of steals for Billy Holland at the front of that line out. 2-4-2 for Billy Holland. This is the Gavin Coombs score, which they worked tremendously hard to get in the end. They were held up over the try line a couple of times, but not too many players can stop Gavin Coombs. Took 2 or 3, and this is the beautiful footwork and vision, elusive running of Joey Carberry. Support from Daly.
Like, it's not an accident what he's doing. He's actually sucking in as many defenders as he can. Just get them sniffing on him. And as soon as he does, he offloads to a player who picks a great line, in fairness to Daly. Picks a super line. But that's how many players do we know who can create that space and exploit it as he can?
Well, that's the thing. These next couple of weeks, tonight and next week's game, are all about fine-tuning things for the final against Leinster on the 27th of March.
Because the more rugby has become professional, the more there's an Excel spreadsheet of a million things you want to do, but none of that, what Carberry just did there, comes off an Excel spreadsheet. That is him just playing as if he's at home on the beach, just playing rugby and then allowing other people to catch up with him. Super play.
Lovely stretch of strand up there on her thigh, isn't there?
In around Blessington, I think, would be.
His record here at Thomond Park, Joey Carberry, is excellent as well. Averages 14 points a game prior to tonight here. And this is a huge concern for Munster and for Finnan Wycherley. You never like to see that.
Is this player coming on?
Every precaution will be taken, of course.
Yeah, he got ahead of the ball, didn't he? He got his hands on it, and just the weight of the Scarlets players come in, kind of concertina it a bit. So hopefully it's precautionary. Hopefully it's.
Well, it does mean a debut and an opportunity for Alex Kendellen. Another player coming through the increasingly busy conveyor belt of talent at Munster these days, with a big reputation. Very, very tidy player.
And the guns in the Averone in him there. See the arms?
Yeah. Talented all-rounder as a youngster. Very good soccer player and played out at golf as well.
Make sure we keep the mark for that scrum, man.
Yeah, we were talking about the Munster club jerseys and the school jerseys last week at the Interpro game against Connacht. I think it was 70 at that time, and they've swelled the numbers up to around 100 now. Just one of the many initiatives to try and keep the fans engaged with what's going on at Thomond Park, and some of them are here, while obviously not in person, but in picture. And wouldn't have enjoyed that little bust through the middle by Joey Carberry. And how important will be the role of Joey Carberry over the next couple of weeks, the latter business end of this Guinness Pro 14 season. So good to see Alex Candellen get his opportunity, albeit not in the circumstances he or Munster would have liked. But it's just taken, inevitably, the wind out of the sails of Munster, who have given a very good account of themselves in the opening 28 minutes or so here.
Yeah, like the pick of the players, Mike Haley at 15 is trying to put yards in the ball. In fact, the Munster back three have been very, very strong, haven't they? Very creative, even in the conditions. But obviously, Joey Carberry is just setting a tone himself. It just seems, I haven't got the stats, but it seems that Munster have far more possession and much more comfortable in it, and they're finding field position just piling on the pressure, with the exception of that 3 points that Scarlets got, which was very cheaply given up. Scarlets are working, and they're trying to figure out the best tactics, aren't they, in these conditions?
Well, just shy of 60% is the official, 57% is the official possession stat for Munster. Appearance number 242, as I think I mentioned, for Billy Holland. He's closing in on Donncha O'Callaghan. He's not going to get there, of course, announcing his retirement pending at the end of the season for Billy Holland. A journey really in Munster Red that started in Llanelli against the Scarlets way back, or at Musgrave Park rather, against the West Walians in 2007. What a stretch it's been. He hit a ton in 2015 and he hit his double century in 2019.
I remember in Leinster when Shane Byrne hit 100, and it was like, what an achievement, like it was. And then guys started hitting 100, and then before you know it was 200, and guys like Anthony Foley and all these legends of our game hitting 200. You say, how in God's name? Obviously the game has changed. There's so many more games now for your province every season, but still it's a phenomenal achievement. Absolutely phenomenal to get over 200 runs for your province.
The time has been off for over 8 minutes now. Players just doing their best to stay warm and loose, but our thoughts with Finan Wycherley, let's hope, as Liam says, that it's largely precautionary, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
Time on.
So 8 minutes after that stoppage, we are ready to resume again, and
good space, good
as I said, hopeful for Finan Wycherley. Saw him chatting there with one of the Munster medics as he left the field. Good position this though for Scarlets. Time to switch their minds and bodies back on quickly here.
Bind! Set!
Dane Blacker, the 22-year-old, will feed the Scarlets scrummage. Position A.
Stay up! Wait. No. 3. I need you to set up a little bit straighter, but you can't drive across either. There was 2 of you. Okay?
Sean Gallagher not impressed
3,
at all.
dead straight, and don't step out. I can't reward either of you there. Good on this side, same again.
Sometimes, of course, the referee makes a decision there on that one, but we often forget that it's a competition, and scrummaging is a competition. And sometimes it's not allowed to evolve, so it's great that we get a reset and another opportunity to compete for the ball.
Bind! No, wait a second. You need to have patience here. There's both. Okay, you're both folded in early. We need to keep that space. Have to get it right now.
If it's standing around for 8 or 9 minutes, they're keen to get on with it.
Both second rows.
Process.
What's the play here for the Scarlets?
Crouch!
It's hard to know. They have a nice blind side, but they've only one Friday out on the right-hand side.
Set! Stay up! Stay up! Use it!
So Blacker now. Little dink over the top is the play they're looking for. Yeah, Tyler Morgan just a little bit too keen. Got himself into an offside position. Scored a lovely try against Edinburgh.
I'm just wondering, did Scarlets spot maybe how Munster defending?
Just got your timing wrong. You're ahead of the kick.
It certainly landed on grass, didn't it? Which was what O'Brien was trying to achieve.
Carberry to touchdown up on halfway, half an hour gone. Here's the play
So
again.
looking at McCarthy, the scrum half, so you can see blindside winger coming across, but the Munster scrum half enters in the defensive line, which is what normally happens. Good coverage there from Daly, but it did land on grass, so the ploy was a good one. But again, another relatively easy exit for Munster, who shortened their line out.
Call comes from Holland, and it is to hit.
I see what they've done.
Gavin Coombs.
Let's look.
Advantage.
No.
Ball is still in possession of the player at the front, and you've come around offside.
See what they're trying to do?
Yep.
Ball
They
is still
kept
in
their
possession
distance,
of
so
the
the
player
trigger
at the
there
front,
is when
frees
when the
offside.
opposition line-out forms, but actually forms more than a metre away. They're showing their intent that they're not going to engage, and they're sending a player around. It was just a timing issue
compete.
there.
Player at the front still had his hands on the ball, and 3 came around.
Peter Schultz, the Praetorian from South Africa, and the guilty party there of getting his timing wrong.
You can see Scarlets just didn't engage.
On the line.
Gallagher's, the referee's interpretation is the ball hadn't been transferred back to the tail. He just executed his tackle a little too early. And they shorten again.
All the way to the tail gunner on this occasion.
15. Sack is good. No hands, ruck formed.
Ball there now for McCarthy. Klein wants it, and here he is. Up against the imposing figure of Sam Lucy. And speaking of imposing figures, here comes Damien Dialende. McCarthy again gets the pass away to O'Sullivan. Taken on here by Candela. That was a good hit though, just dislodged the ball.
Knock-ons. First one by Red.
Yeah, he'll be frustrated a little, wouldn't he? His first touch. That's a funny tackle technique there. I'd argue he didn't wrap. He took a knee, didn't he?
Yeah.
Same again now from you two. Okay. Nice
Well,
and
not to
straight
bail
through.
him out
Same
with
for you,
excuses,
don't
but
kick
it
out.
is the rain has started to team down again here at Thomond. Pretty heavy just now, into the faces really of the Munster players and into ours up here in the commentary position as well. There you go.
Bind! Set!
Not a lot of give in there. Callum Mafoney gets it away. Oh, it's been turned over. Opportunity for McCarthy. Did that go forward? Sean Gallagher right there. Thought it might have gone backwards, but no, knock on.
Yeah.
That was messy from
We'll
the
just come
Scarlets.
over here. There's a bit of muck here. Fair enough.
Good pressure from McCarthy. Good pick up too, and the offload. It's just the pitch, if anything, beat McCarthy. Immediately, the conditions making things difficult.
Well, in the 35th minute, it's all about just gliding towards the half-time, because there is quite a wind building up behind for Munster in the second half. So it's going to be really hard
Bind!
to play these conditions. So with the lead that they have, it's a huge advantage.
Early push, Red.
Well, he had to give something sooner or later, not a penalty, just an early engagement, free kick.
Mark there. Early.
So they kick infield to Healy. Well over 600 metres gained this season. Huge height on that, good chase, real pressure. Good take under pressure from Angus O'Brien. Blacker gets it away to Morgan Jones. Jack Morgan in there. Plenty of cover this time, having been blocked down by McCarthy the last time.
Use it! That's inside. It's inside.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good play from the Scarlets. like it was a super kick, wasn't it, from Mike Haley, and a great chase. Huge pressure on Scarlets, and they just kept their composure, and a wonderful clearance kick. Possibly the best passage from Scarlets.
All but ended, realistically speaking. Edinburgh's chances of finishing third in the conference 2 weeks ago when they won away up in Scotland. Edinburgh do, though, have those couple of games in hand.
I'm surprised that Scarlets aren't defending in the air, certainly on this part of the pitch. Because in these conditions, it's a very difficult skill to hit the target. And if you get some traffic in the air, it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, clean ball is very, very hard to come by.
Side entry.
And this time Morgan Jones infringing in front of Sean Gallagher. The wind really buffeting around now. It's picked up too. Temperature dropped again. Carberry just making absolutely sure, no mistakes. Can they find their way to a third try of the evening before we go in for half-time?
No!
Secured at the front by Klein.
In the 5, line out over.
Scannell creeping around, undetected, and Munster getting a little bit of momentum now. Billy Holland has it, and still they go. And again, that's really good work. Scarlets very disjointed, only really Peter Schoultz and one other teammate back there. McCarthy, Hanrahan, and now Carberry. They have to go a little bit deep to try and find some space. Can the two wingers combine now as Shane Daly comes a long way infield?
There was a number of, I think Lucy and Scarlett just changed his bind, didn't he, in the line-out maul.
Time off. Just keep the mark for me there. Steph. We've got too many penalties now. We had 2 line-outs there with penalties, one after the other. 2 pulling the player out of the maul at that one. You need to have a word with them about discipline. The next one's gone. No, I won't have a word.
Yeah, I think that's fair from Sean Gallagher. Yeah. They are repeat offenders in that regard.
I know what you're saying to me. Leave me follow what I'm doing. Just leave it with me, okay? Just give it a second while he's speaking. Yeah. It's on the 5? Okay. We're in a little bit further in here, thanks.
I think Billy Holland just said next one's a yellow, yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
So this will go to touch, and you would imagine it'll be another
just wait until those water
driving maul in the driving rain.
Yeah, I think that the Scarlets have been a little naive in not getting into the air. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but they're allowing Munster to go to their strength, which is secure the ball off a shortened line out, and they're going into a maul. They're mauling into the conditions, so it's kind of an obvious play Munster doing. So I'm surprised Scarlets haven't tried to compete in the air and disrupt all of that.
Well, the problem here is now it's in the mind of Sean Gallagher, if they are to infringe again.
Maul! Early. Advantage.
No, I didn't think they timed it right, so it is a penalty advantage. Going too early against Aaron Schindler on Billy Holland's jump. Ball wrapped up there under the arm of Niall Scannell. The radar of Nick McCarthy working overtime. Carberry. Oh, and this time it doesn't quite come off, albeit with the advantage.
6.
And now
6.
Yeah, we're going to see, maybe are we 10 minutes in the bin for Aaron Schindler.
We're early on the lifter. Off you go.
Too many penalties. Accumulation
We're here.
of penalties mean they're down a man for 10 minutes,
Number 6,
which they can ill afford.
Just wait 1 second until he's off. Too many penalties, guys.
So it's all about timing, isn't it? The referee saying that
Guys, you need to be disciplined here now.
Schindler has hit just before Holland comes back down onto the ground, so it's a matter of nanoseconds, but sufficient enough to call the penalty and the yellow card.
Space is good
now. Munster go for the juggler with 12 and 13 in the line-out again.
Maul!
Klein takes it at the front as we approach the 40-minute mark. And through the gears they go. They won't need to get out of second to get to the line. Scannell will score. The inevitable line-out maul works for Munster. With the man advantage, they now have 3 tries to that one solitary Scarlets penalty, and they have taken command of this game right on half-time.
Well, it's a masterclass in using the conditions to your advantage. I think Scarlets have been naive in how they've defended the line-out, but Munster have done exactly what you'd expect them to do. They've dominated the line-out this week where they struggled last week, and look at the ease and comfort. Scannell behind it was 5 metres out, knew that this was going to be a try. Lovely score for the Munster hooker, but more importantly, lovely score for the Munster team, controlling the conditions.
Well, it's right back into the teeth of it now. You can see the ball oscillating on the kicking tee there just in front of Joey Carberry. They don't come much more difficult than this. Driving rain, swirling wind. That's a really good nudge. He's barely put a foot wrong on his return to the starting team at Thomond Park tonight, Joey Carberry, and it's been pretty good work all round for Munster. Glenn Delaney not best pleased with something that he's seen, but his team very much on the back foot as they head to the sheds on a wet and windy night at Thomond Park in Limerick. It is Munster very much in the box seat. They lead the Scarlets by 21 points to 3 at half-time. Welcome back. All set to go then for the second 40 at Thomond Park. Munster leading the contest by 21 points to 3. 3 tries in that first half from Gavin Coombs, Shane Daly and Niall Scannell right on the whistle at half-time. All 3 converted by the metronomic so far boot of Joey Carberry, who also contributed a wonderful assist for that Shane Daly try. Munster well on course then for a 5th consecutive win in this competition since losing here to Leinster back in that rearranged fixture at the end of January. It's been a good response from Munster, and very easy to come here tonight and say, look, the victory doesn't really matter, but it's a proud record they have at Thomond Park in recent times.
I know Carberry et al. Have had a lot of plaudits, but James Cronin's carry into heavy traffic there was super, absolutely super.
A loose pass on that occasion from Carberry, forcing Alex Kendellen on debut to do a little bit of tidying up work for Munster, which he did pretty well. As Coombs in the thick of the action again. McCarthy to Coombs again. Driving through the contact, making valuable meters. Dale Andy now. Cronin there in support. Schultz with a tackle, the tight head.
Backwards by Gray. And a good turnover.
Oh, that's brilliant from, I think it's Kendellen in there.
Yeah, super.
Really good play. Well, this time Carberry's pass was read by Steph Evans. And if he sees any open country, he is gone.
Forward pass there. First one's a knock on.
All a little bit scrappy.
Yeah, we'll wait for him.
But it's an insight, isn't it, into the work ethic of the players when things aren't working perfectly as they haven't here. The reaction of his teammates. Kendellen coming in here, a great body position, hunting for it. Gets off his feet a little. Referee says it's okay. But that's a real good indicator of the culture of the team. And particularly we see new guys coming in, that they're working their socks off. But James Cronin, I mentioned him there, like, you know, he's not always going to, he's not dropping goals, he's not crossfield kicking, but this is what he's been brilliant. He stole a ball at the breakdown earlier in the first half. But look at this, just keeping momentum going, helped by Klein, of course, coming in behind, but just the body power and the leg to keep going in those yards. Like, that's of huge benefit to his team in these conditions.
It looks like we're going to have a change, guys. Yeah.
Some concern for Johnny McNichol. He's clutching that. Yeah, that could be his shoulder gone potentially. He looks very uncomfortable. It's going to be an enforced change in the back line.
Let's go, boys!
Really disappointing for the visitors so early in this second half. Johnny Williams on the Scarlets bench tonight.
Yeah, is he on? Okay.
So they'll have to reorganise back there. There is Johnny Williams.
Yeah, I see that. No worries. He's on the way.
Started against Ireland in the Six Nations and called into action here perhaps a good deal sooner than he might have expected in the second half.
Same, nice and straight, the same as the last few scrums.
He's going into the back row of that scrum. No Aaron Shingler for the opening exchanges in this second half.
Bind!
That was a huge blindside for him to be defending, and I can't imagine he spent much time in training preparing for this moment.
Advantage.
So the advantage now, Carberry, can he seize the opportunity? Hanrahan managed to get it away to McCarthy. Slippy ball through the hands of O'Sullivan. This is good and promising. Daly with a little chip forward up to 5 metres.
Back to the penalty.
All the time Munster playing with the advantage.
Inch by one, yeah. One, collapse.
Watch Munster number 7, O'Sullivan. In the middle of all of this, who pops up? Open side, boom. That's brilliant play from the young open side. Super, super play. Just goes in, the perfect link, takes one step and keeps the ball flowing. Nice play having come across from the scrum.
So what are we, 4 minutes into the second half? There's 4 minutes left on the sin binning for Aaron Shingler, by the way, as Munster back in familiar territory.
And not quite a gale force 4, but it must be close to it, all in Munster's favour.
On the goal line.
Scannell to Klein.
That's once.
So that seems to be their go-to line out of 6 and 1.
Still going forward. Line out over.
That's a real mess in there, and there's a real fight for it. Scarlets seizing and sensing the opportunity, and they effect a turnover, and that's hugely encouraging from their point of view, because they've been under the caution in that department all evening.
We'll take the mark here, guys.
Scannell just gets sucked in trying to forage his way around the corner there.
Mark Jones, the Scarlets hooker, made a right smash there as well, didn't he?
When they play Sale in the knockout stages of the Heineken Cup, that's where Mark Jones has spent a significant part of his career. 150 appearances it is for the Sale Sharks across 2 spells.
This is not an easy exit for Scarlets into this wind and the rain peeling down. So Munster will be happy enough just to sit here. They'll be disappointed with that turnover. It's a long way running it out of there.
Use it!
Blacker gets it into the hands of Sam Lucy, the Auckland-born Tongan international.
Use it!
Given the conditions, we may spend a considerable amount of this second half down in that kind of position. That won't find touch, drifting in field. Calvin Nash on the reply. It's gone forward.
Pass forward. Forward first.
Another big contact.
Just shows you how hard it is to get out of that corner, isn't it? So from a tactical point of view, I'd be surprised if Carberry hasn't spotted that. And any time there's a flow ball his way, just pump it into the corner. Look, the scoreboard is 21-3. It's a long way to go in the game, but just keep Scarlets in that corner, and it's going to be a tough remaining time for the visitors.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Down they go on this side. Referee right there.
Second one. One early, second one.
James Cronin up against
Get that
Peter
stability,
Schultz.
pushing early.
It's very difficult as well for the front rowers on a night like tonight. Footing very difficult to hold, deteriorating conditions, but you saw just how much punch they needed to give that kick, the Scarlets, to get it down just beyond halfway.
Yeah, I see you're slow coming in. I'm not going to penalise them. Let's go.
Aaron Shingler standing by for his re-entry into the game.
Maul! Line it over.
Good check this time again by
Don't change
Lucy.
to 4. That's once. Use it.
Defended that well, Munster. No purchase whatsoever for the Scarlets. Driven back, in fact. Opportunity on the blind side for Evans. Ball straight into touch.
It's interesting how you summarise that, Conor, because Munster did get a player into the air initially to try and target the ball in flight, and then they had a sufficient on-the-ground plan as well, so they did both. And I suppose that's the consistent message that Scarlets haven't been trying to do.
So one, keep that space, one.
But it's time again for the home team to kind of take control of possession. They've allowed Scarlets just to inch their way out, and you've got to give credit to the Welsh side for doing so.
And we're back to 15 aside, by the way. Aaron Shingler back with us.
And a shortened line out again.
Maul! No play. That's once.
Which Holland takes, and now Scannell controls at the back. In comes McCarthy. Is there something opportunistic on that short side? Where was the bounce? Referee's assistant happy.
They bounce first.
As you say, Liam, the Munster, rightly and understandably, just quite content to pin the Scarlets back in here. No real onus on them, having scored 3 tries and leading by 21 points to 3 to
space is good.
Play too much in the conditions.
Maul!
Shingler, tricky one to take, juggled it slightly, but got a hold of it eventually.
Line out over in the 5. Yeah, inside.
Drifting in field, not the easiest of takes, made look easy by Calvin Nash, who ran into some pretty heavy traffic.
Yeah, but he got great support, didn't he, this time? The troops came in behind him and maintained possession. Good play from Munster.
Carberry a little deeper in the pocket, looking for Hanrahan, potentially Dialende as well.
I think Hanrahan was a bit frustrated. I think he felt he was blocked.
Tom Pridey in off that right wing to cover.
Use it!
Blacker goes to the air again and doesn't get a great deal of purchase on it. Seemed to go forward off a Scarlet's hand. Carberry. Ball is there for Billy Holland. Up against Shingler. Once again, that little dink through. Scarlets did have 2 players covering in the backfield. No real way through for Hughes on that occasion. And this time they try a little short pop pass back inside to Sam Lucy, who took a good line, showed a good pair of hands also. Blacker again to O'Brien.
Good.
Off the outside of the boot this time.
That's super play. What a combination. Big Lucy taking the ball on a lovely line, getting through a weak shoulder, and a kind of a
15.
banana kick from
15.
Angus O'Brien just to find grass and allow the ball. That's a beautiful kick.
And 1, 2 and 3, Scarlets.
Absolutely
1, 2 and 3.
beautiful.
New front row coming in for
Yeah.
the Welsh visitors, and some changes in the back line also. Darren Sweetman for
not
Mike
yet.
Healy.
Not yet. You're going to have to stay another while.
Yeah, I think the Munster
thanks,
back
Peter.
three, like they were the story of the first 40. Well, Joey Carberry certainly was, but the Munster back three added huge value to anything that Scarlets asked of them.
We'll just take time off. We've got a few players down here.
So Sweetnam, you would imagine,
Look
will
like
go
tired
to the...
players, don't they? The Scarlets front row going off.
Yep, every chance that Sweetnam will go to the blindside wing and Daly will go to fullback, but we'll wait and see. Confirmation that the front row of Taylor Davies, Kemsley Matthias and Alex Jeffries have all come in. Yeah, he looks... his shift is over,
1,
certainly.
2 and 3.
Peter Schultz, recruited in from the Southern Kings.
They're coming now.
It's like for like, isn't it?
Just tape them up, is it? Okay.
O'Byrne, Lockman and John Ryan coming in.
And Kevin O'Byrne's reward is a line-out in the dirtiest conditions.
He's coming now. That's everybody.
He's been in superb form this season, really has, offering so much in the loose. And
Just wait out. We'll wait for a second there. Got a lot of people on the pitch.
so O'Byrne in for Niall Scannell, the scorer of Munster's third try of the evening. It's as you were from half-time.
Advantage. Knocked on advantage.
Difficult one to come into for O'Byrne. And it was scrappy, but Munster are going to get away with it. That's good again from Kendallen. Good support to John Klein on the floor. Good presentation on that occasion from Jeremy Lockman.
Tackle! Good. Use it!
And Sarah McCarthy will elect to kick again. Evans across, took it really, really well. That's a good fend. That's an important tackle. We've seen plenty already from Alex Kendallen. Now options here with Sweetnam. He's got Coombs on the outside.
Advantage, knock on red.
It's gone forward off Jeremy Lockman.
Pass forward. Four. Sub.
Lovely play from Sweetnam. A pretty early read on Scarlett's crossfield kick back
Scrums were great
back
before
deep.
you came, so we'll keep them that way, please. Just stability.
Going to see a change in the second row for Scarlets. Tavita Ratuva has come in there. Morgan Jones is off.
Yeah, we'll just wait.
Another youngster coming through, only made his debut in round 3 this season against Benetton, the 21-year-old Morgan Jones. His evening is over.
All right, good to go. Time on.
Replaced by the Fijian second rower, Ratuva. A couple of spells in France with Brive and Bordeaux. Now ensconced in West Wales.
Bind!
So just
Hold it!
Coombs has slipped in on the blind side here in the scrum.
There's a huge amount of power coming through there. That's brilliant from the Munster 8. It's hard not to be impressed with what we've seen already from Kendallen. He's been very good. Several aspects of the game.
No advantage.
That might have qualified as a Wagga kick. I'm not quite sure the technical term of it, but he knew he had an advantage, didn't he?
17, angle under pressure.
Yes, and it was against Matthias.
Isn't that a great sight in World Rugby? I know a lot of people get impatient of scrums, but to see a turnover scrum like that, which ultimately ends in a penalty, it's a wonderful sight to remind us of what a brilliant aspect of our game scrummaging is.
Steph Evans, who's been out of the picture on the Welsh test scene really since he played his last cap against Ireland in that pre-World Cup game in 2019. 13 caps so far as Munster back in attacking position through the boot of Joey Carberry.
Again, back to the 6-1 line-out. It's worked well for them tonight.
Coombs the target this time of Kevin O'Byrne's throw, and that was cleaner from a Munster point of view. In comes McCarthy, but he's not required just yet because now they're making good headway. Ball still protected in there from O'Byrne, and now McCarthy's got a little bit of work to do. Sweetenham goes to ground on the Scarlets, 22. Retruva quickly in there with a big tackle, taken on directly by Klein. McCarthy just pops it away again. Show and go from O'Byrne. Support arrives in time. Scarlets not committing too many numbers to that ruck, and now Hanrahan's under pressure. Callum Mafoney driving the Munster inside centre backwards. Dealende, McCarthy again, this time to
numbers left.
Lockman. Munster players funneling out to this side, and they've spotted it now. Carberry through the hands to Hanrahan. It was intended for Shane Daly. It's made its way to Sweetenham instead.
Advantage, tackler roll away.
A lot of infringements. Once again, it's Munster advantage.
Okay, Jackler was okay. Tackler's fallen on the wrong side. You need to move.
Subtle
Jackler
differences in how
roll
Munster
away.
are playing, even in these conditions.
It's number 14.
Lovely tip on from the Munster substitute hooker who finds his open side. Like, this is lovely. This is lovely. Just adding more doubt, forcing the hit, taking quite a hit, but offloading. Okay, it didn't end up in anything massively positive, but the attitude to do it is great in these conditions. He's had a great season, hasn't he, Kevin O'Byrne?
He certainly has. And he found Gavin Coombs really well last line out. This time the target is Billy Holland, and the outcome is the same. Munster ball and a good setup.
Line it over.
They've made a better fist of
Advantage,
stopping that at source, the Scarlets, but it's another penalty, this time against Retruva. And we might see another yellow here. All about the patience of Sean Gallagher for the repeat infringements.
Way too many
they're in
penalties
trouble
now
again.
Clear collapse by 19.
That's Retruva gone to the bin for
Just
10.
wait. Clear collapse by 19. Okay. Guys, we need way better discipline. No, he was still attached. 19 was okay until he pulled it down.
The line-out throw from Kevin O'Byrne was very interesting. A brilliant, brilliant arc. This is leading to the arc. This is leading to the penalty.
More!
This time it's Klein rising high.
That's once backwards. Line it over. Don't you eight? Go
Now
back,
can
eight.
Kevin O'Byrne repeat what his predecessor in the hooker role did just before half-time? Scanlon, it looks like it has to be a certain try, and there is the bonus point in the 59th minute. Kevin O'Byrne, Munster's line-out maul is destructive, and it's unstoppable from a Scarlets point of view, particularly with a man down in the bin. The punishment comes straight away.
Well, what it has shown is a real street smartness from the home side Munster. They have found a weakness in Scarlets. Scarlets aren't defending the ball in the air. and they're not defending on the ground. And Munster saying, that's fine, we just keep doing it and keep repeating it, keep scoring tries. So very clever, street smart rugby from Munster. Get into that field position and then go to your line-out maul and you get your scores. And when you got someone like Joey Carberry at 10 then, who can open up a field when the mood takes him, you've got a lovely combination between backs and forwards. Great try from Munster.
It's going to have to come round from the right-hand side, but it's on a string at the moment for Joey Carberry. 4 out of 4.
Okay. He's over the far side. We'll go time out.
28 points to 3. One-way traffic against the 14 men of the Scarlets now.
4. Yeah.
John Klein is going off. Looks like Thomas Ahern is ready to be introduced.
And he's going to bring some energy and athleticism and pace around the park.
Good to go.
The foot will certainly not come off the throttle with him coming on.
Another very, very exciting player. Tricky one for Holland. Didn't really seem to be set to gather that Scarlets ball. They've seen increasingly less of it in these attacking kind of positions in this second half. And when they have, they've been met with a pretty solid wall there. On that occasion, it was Ahern straight in with Kendellen with a 2-man tackle. Changing the back row, meanwhile, for Scarlets. User Kasim is coming in. Aaron Shingler's evening is over. Good to see him back in Scarlets colours. Well, the slip helped, but it was a clever kick in any case. Calvin Nash just losing his footing.
It seems like such a long time ago since those 3 points are scored. So it's nice to see Scarlets getting some purchase in terms of possession, but they're just not making and breaking through the gain line. And I think halfback has no choice but to kick the ball. It wasn't the ideal turnover possession. But just the defence that Munster putting in, Scarlets just aren't getting across that gain line. There's no choice for them.
Time on.
Good to see Jack Crowley get a run for Munster as well.
Line outside, guys.
Good to see Joey Carberry safely navigate 60 minutes. That's another 60 minutes in the tank of his return to rugby, and what a return it was. Very, very accomplished performance. No Ben Healy tonight in the matchday 23, but we know all about what Jack Crowley can bring to the table. Interesting to see his contribution for the next 20 minutes.
It's knocked on into the 22, so we've a gain in ground. It's good.
%, from the kicking tees, having more difficulty with his hood than he had with anything on the pitch in the course of 60 minutes.
Yeah, I see him.
Well, he's a game changer. He's an absolute game changer.
Don't come forward. The line out's over. Yeah, I see him.
Confirmation of the switch at scrum half for the Scarlets. Dane Blacker is off and Will Homer is in. The Australian. And here he is, trying to get that Scarlets pack of forwards moving forward into Munster territory.
It's okay, tackle only onside.
Homer again to Evans, gets it away to
high tackle,
Jack Morgan, swinging arm, high tackle, penalty coming. Callum Raffoni took a good line, but he was scythed down before he could get any real momentum. A lot of traffic in there. They'll come back surely though for the penalty.
Yeah. 9, high tackle. 9.
Every picture tells its story, doesn't it? Lovely bit of play from the Munster sub-hooker, just cutting off the pass. Keep an eye on number 16.
13, sub.
He's onside, just shuts down the pass there, forces the Scarlets to run up a alleyway of red jerseys. Lovely play from O'Byrne.
Okay.
There's Jack
Time
Crowley. Such a competitive area of the pitch, isn't it, at Munster at the moment, and various players at different levels of their education and progress. This is better though from the Scarlets, and we haven't seen nearly enough of Callum Mafoney carrying ball. That's been ripped clear, and McCarthy can just knock it out of harm's way. They've defended that well, Munster. Still switched on in defence. O'Byrne again. Jack O'Sullivan in there.
We've got 2 players down, 1 from each team, so we'll just take a
that's
second.
a lovely play from sub-hooker and open side, combining, he's one of the best ball carriers in the competition, and he's number 1 in carries in the competition. The Scarlets number 8. But great, that's a great appeal away, but it was a super clearance kick as well. O'Byrne has added a lot, hasn't he, since he come on?
Yep. He always does. He's all action, full repertoire of skills. Good contribution tonight for Nick McCarthy, who of course is back on his way up the road at the end of the season, back up to Leinster from where he came.
We just haven't got those 2 players up
Paddy
yet.
Patterson travelling in the opposite direction, so lots of chopping and changing.
Just wait a second. We've still got some players down.
You'd have to venture that Johan van Graan would be pretty happy.
Yeah, getting the bonus point is the obvious one, but I just think the form of some of his players is really, there's some players really coming into form, and considering the log jam of competition and games that they face, it's pretty good timing for the Munster management. Back 3 are functioning, front row's functioning, and all points in between. But again, bringing Carberry into that pivot position, that's just as the last piece of the jigsaw, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see the makeup of the selection, both from Munster and Leinster, for the final, coming as it does a week after the Six Nations.
Now you have to use it. You've clearly stopped twice, turnover.
And the energy levels are still very good from this Munster team, albeit the game has been long since wrapped up.
No. You stopped twice. Clear. Turnover.
Again, Munster showed that you can get into the air and also disrupt on the ground. It's a good play.
It's clear.
The maul set up from Scarlets. A good maul is a long maul where the ball itself is transferred back to the tail, and you keep a very narrow front and you drive it on. And Scarlets didn't achieve that, so it became a competition, and they just couldn't release it, and hence the turnover from a maul.
Second. Crouch!
Cardiff away to Benetton tomorrow in this conference. Edinburgh away to Connacht. Both of those teams still in the conversation, of course, for 3rd spot on a automatic Champions Cup spot. Scarlets, it doesn't seem going to do anything to further their cause in that regard tonight, but they do have a penalty here.
Leave it. First one, 17 collapsing. 17 collapsing.
So to the corner it goes Angus O'Brien. And what can they manufacture here on their own ball 11. For a change, 5 metres out from 11, the try line. Sub. Paddy Patterson is in, Shane Daly is going off. So Paddy Patterson makes his Munster debut.
Line out over in the 5. Don't change your bind, Red. That's once 9. Use it.
Against Scarlets and setting up their maul, again Munster get into the air but also on the ground they do a lot of damage, and they hold. They're playing the referee saying don't change your bind. They're not changing the bind, but Scarlets are not getting a long line-up maul, which leaves the ball in a competition.
Yeah.
And they're allowing the big long limbs of the Munster players to get in on the ball and just slow it down. Like Scarlets need a longer maul, they need more dynamism, is that a word? to shift the inertia, and they're not doing it, so they're achieving very, very little from an opportunity.
Thomas Ahern in constant conversation towards the referee Sean Gallagher.
Bind. Set.
So when it goes from
Both to
Patterson,
ground.
Nick McCarthy relocated to the Munster wing.
Reset, both to ground. Slip on both sides. Let's come out here a small bit. Let's just move it out. We're in the nest there. Yeah, time off. We've got the hooker down.
It's a heavy, heavy pitch. We've actually been quite fortunate with the conditions given how bad they were. Around about 7:30 this evening. Deluge of rain. And the pitch has held up well, and so is the game largely.
Dare I say, since 7:30 this morning, Conor, it was like every 20 minutes there was a biblical storm, and then it dried, and then the blue sky came out, and then it carried on for the day. But considering those conditions, like, it's been a remarkably skillful game. A lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, but still some of the interplays have been really, really good. And I was expecting a really tough game. It is a tough game in competitive sense, but Munster have played the conditions and they've played the opposition really brilliantly.
Yeah, okay. So head injury assessment for 16, Red? Yeah, okay.
Kevin O'Byrne's going to have to go off for a HIA. So Niall Scannell is back in. Tavita Ratuva, by the way, will be reintroduced following his yellow card pretty soon also. So we're back to 15 aside.
Good set up now, good height, both of you.
The ball is with Paddy Patterson.
Crouch!
Nick McCarthy having replaced Shane Daly on this left wing for Munster.
Set!
It's a good shove from the Scarlets, forcing Patterson to play, and that is for McCarthy. That's a pretty good switch with Sweetenham now, and he's back available again. Here he is over the ball as Sweetenham goes to ground. Patterson in there. Taken on by Coombs. He's had another very, very good performance.
Ball was out.
Patterson under real pressure, as he knew he was. He didn't have a huge amount of protection. Comfortably blocked down outside his own 22. That's another very good piece of work under pressure from Callum Mafoney that time from Kendellen.
Still in.
Powerful player. Looks to be a very good asset. Taken by Asquith. Unloads it to O'Brien. Good cover that time from Jack Crowley.
Oh, that looks forward. Oh, it certainly looks forward.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Forward pass.
The referee's assistant right in front of us just communicating that to
in a
Gallagher.
better position than me. Simbin returning.
We're back to 15 aside.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, here we go.
The referee can't see it from there, can he?
And referee's assistant struggled as well, because right in front of him was the big number 5, Lucy, who was about twice the height of him. So
get that stability now.
Robert O'Sullivan
good high bind
on this near side.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
In the last few scrums, Munster have allowed the ball to sit at number 8's feet for a little bit longer than maybe they need to.
Patterson running straight into Sean Gallagher, but he's done well. The outcome is favourable in the end.
That's simple and clever play, isn't it? One scrum half to another, congratulating him.
And they've done what they needed to do, Munster, tonight, with a minimum of fuss and one or two nice embellishments, notably that break from Carberry. A tricky one for Ratuva to take. Callum O'Funny robust in the carry on that occasion.
Stops. Yeah, good. They're on.
What's the potential here for Sweetenham? Solid tackle from Johnny Williams. Crowley measured that beautifully. Really nicely done.
Doesn't it just deflate the balloon, doesn't it? It's like, just as, like you mentioned, like for me, I was really interested in coming to see Callum O'Funny at number 8. He's just a brilliant ball carrier, but he has had precious few carries tonight, and maybe it's the conditions, maybe it's possession stakes, but that was any time they get any sort of momentum. Munster just piercing the balloon and putting it back into the corner. It's really deflating, which is exactly what the home side need to do. And
that's the brief, absolutely, yeah. You heard Johan van Graan pre-match say that they had set out with great designs to see how the axis of Carberry and Hanrahan might work and create things. It's in a different sort of game given the conditions. There he is again, right on cue.
Off your feet now, Rag.
There's no way Candellum was backing out of that.
16, stop!
So much power from Callum O'Funny, though. Good take from Crowley, did well. And he managed not to get turned onto the wrong side. Presents the ball for Lockman here now.
He's injured himself in that carry, the Scarlets number 8 has.
Patterson. Lockman now. Back inside to Candellum. Lucy with a tackle. And they're up quickly out of that defensive line on that occasion. Munster have to be a little sharper and smarter. And that's a pretty smart play at this stage of the game with the scoreline. And they're going to have to work hard to get out of their own 22.
Stop. You're on now, he played it.
Calvin Nash didn't quite trap it as he would have liked, soccer style, but the pitch took a lot of the speed out of it for him. Patterson. Crowley, what can he do with that mercurial boot of his? That's Munster ball on this side as well. Last touch came off the retreating Scarlets player.
That was a lovely slide rule, left footer, wasn't it? Beautiful, skipping along the ground and forcing the turnover. He hardly meant for that to be the outcome, but that is it. Lovely play.
Thankfully, no injury to add to the insult of conceding the line out. Not a huge amount in his defence that Angus O'Brien could do about it.
Now, Munster have swapped their centres. Dale Andy has gone into first centre with JJ Hanrahan into second centre.
And sizable totemic target of Thomas O'Hearn. 74th minute. Can Munster find a way to the try line for the 5th time tonight? Away goes Scannell. Reintroduced, of course, following the HIA to Kevin O'Byrne. Both the Munster hookers on the score sheet tonight. Holland gets it away to Lockman. Patterson again, there was a little bit of a gap there, he thought about it.
Advantage, knocked on, advantage.
And perhaps that was the wrong option. Now can't Scarlets take advantage now over, but Evans is carrying, and that's been, well, it's a little microcosm of the Scarlets evening. They've had precious few opportunities. And that was certainly a half chance, albeit from very deep.
Yeah, no problem. Just hold the throw for this player. He's got a boot.
Numbers? 50-50. 6 + 6.
Good. Time on. Stay 2.
Scanlon takes his time about it, finds his target, who is Billy Holland now. Crowley into Dialande. Oh, that's clever. Nice disguise from Hanrahan. Great link-up play. The pass was intended for Calvin Nash from Dialande. Scarlets player got himself in a good position,
Off
though.
your feet,
And then
13.
Munster off
No,
their
Mark's
feet.
over here.
Opportunity
Stay on
goes
your feet.
a-begging.
Hands pass.
An important intervention just at the right time.
13 off feet.
Not all the architecture of a first phase try, didn't it? Tom Pridey sticking to his guns and getting himself in the right place. Taylor Davis with the Scarlets line out, which is clean ball. Hanrahan up into that passing channel and out of the defensive line. Over the top it goes from the always alert and dangerous Steph Evans. McCarthy. And he's done well. Needed to buy himself a second or two on the floor, and he managed to do so without being pinged, despite the presence of Evans over the ball. And this time,
high. Penalty only.
that's a little bit
He was falling.
reckless. 77th minute of the game. Munster leading by 28 points to 3. 4 tries to the good.
Yes. Time off.
Good time maybe to get
player down
Liam
here.
Tolan's Guinness Player of the Match this evening. Liam, please.
Well, it was a big bonus point win for Munster, playing the conditions and the opposition so well, with James Cronin and Gavin Coombs leading up front. But in the number 10 jersey, Munster had a game changer, making the impossible look very possible. So Joey Carberry is tonight's Guinness Player of the Match, and is certainly a game changer.
And there was that fleet-footed break and the assist for the Shane Daly try. Munster's second of the evening.
It's going to be over here, just where number 2 is, out in the 5.
All the signs of progress are very good for Joey Carberry. Remember, just his 5th start here at Thomond Park, and I make that his 3rd man of the match performance.
But in this occasion, I think it's the players around him that just feed off of what's now possible, because he's in that jersey. And that's the impact he has, that others now are going to, he's going to bring more out of those other players around him.
Head injury assessment for 2. Okay, we have a head injury assessment for
Well,
2.
his first start a long time ago now, but you may recall it, was against Ulster here in that record-breaking night where they scored 9 tries. He was also man of the match in the Champions Cup game against Gloucester
both
here.
Of them are, yeah, fair enough. So this player's going off for a head injury assessment. Do they have a replacement hooker to replace?
No, well, Munster had a bit of problem here because Kevin O'Byrne has gone off for
I don't
HIA,
think
and
they
now
do. So that
Niall
means
Scannell
they
has
play
to do
with 15
likewise.
because it's a head injury assessment. They have to bring on any front rows that are left on the bench to bring them back to 15. They don't go to 14 because it's a head injury assessment. We're just going to wait for a player to replace number 2. All right.
So a couple of concerns
High tackle,
around
18.
Scannell and O'Byrne, and the asterisk beside tonight's otherwise routine win will be the unfortunate injury to Finan Wycherley.
And I think, like, in fairness to James Cronin, he comes back on the last place he wants to be is back on the pitch in these conditions. But he's had a
Just on
really
me,
good
Peter.
few weeks of super rugby, really imposing himself. Himself and Gavin Coombs, and to be fair, like, there's so many players are beginning, as I was hinting at, are coming into a rich vein of form, which is great timing. But those two guys, Coombs and Cronin, have been super, haven't they?
Well, he's not going to get the line-out throw. James Cronin, Jeremy Lockman is going to take it instead. Munster don't have a hooker. They also have Nick McCarthy on the wing, and Jack Crowley in the mood to try and fashion another Munster try from deep inside their own territory. There is McCarthy. It's a well-measured kick down into the 22, returned by Evans now.
You're all on there.
Crowley underneath this has Dialende outside him.
Two little hop and skips, he thinks, in the Olympics, does he?
Straight in front of the referee, just
clearly ahead of the ball.
He's a big obstructive target, isn't he, Dialende, as well?
Leave the ball down, one.
And that's one of the reasons why I love watching James Cronin.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring it forward, Tim. One, let the ball go. One, let the ball go.
One, let the ball go.
Okay. Wait.
He's reluctant to let the ball go.
One, you to let the ball go. Your mark is here.
Well, it was always going to be a fairly onerous task, really, for the Scarlets, missing all the players they are to both injury and international duty on a Six Nations weekend. They've only won one match here at Thomond Park in the last 18 years. That was in 2017, that stellar season they had when they beat Munster twice in the space of a few weeks, really, both here at Thomond Park and at the Aviva in the final, so impressively in that final.
Crouch!
They were runners-up to
Bind!
Leinster then the following season.
Stay on back rows.
That's great defence. Munster pushed up both sides.
No!
The back row move going right from Scarlets, but they pushed up both sides. Super defence.
8 off feet competing.
Coons still contesting for the ball while off his feet.
Still advantage.
Is the reason that it's the advantage to the Scarlets.
Back to the penalty. Marks here. 8 off feet.
So one last opportunity.
So Scarlets go right here. Obviously your intention. Keep an eye on the Munster scrum half. He goes left, but then they push up on both sides and they cut down both options. How many international sides have fallen for that trap and not pushed up? Good play from Munster at this late stage of the game.
Right knee on the ground.
You know, they turned around, didn't they, leading 21 points to 3, and then got that Kevin O'Byrne try, which was converted, and very easy just to mentally kind of tune out at times thereafter, with the game long since won, and it's been difficult for the Scarlets. It's been relatively toothless from them. Munster haven't switched off, though. They haven't made it any way easy for their Welsh visitors tonight.
Yeah, so it's still advantage for 19, same Mo.
Again, Tom Ahern doing a great job. Was that the second or third line out he's done that? Just found himself in.
We're going back for the penalty. In the air, 19.
And we want to go quickly here through Ratuva.
Advantage, not 10 metres, 1 red.
This time it's James Cronin giving away the penalty. Knocked on the floor, back they go.
Wait, wait! Wait, I see him. 1. Get up. You're not 10 metres.
Get up and get off for James Cronin. So his evening is over.
We're here. We're here. Bring it over.
I just love that attitude, though. It's brilliant.
Stay on the line.
You know, bonus point in the bag. 81 minutes, 12 seconds, and still been a nuisance.
Now is the Munster try line to be breached right at the very end here with the clock in the red. Callum Muffoni, a little bit loose towards Homer, who's now swarmed and swamped by Munster players. Thomas Ahern in there and carried on once again. Straight and true up the centre. Now they've turned it over. Lockman.
Advantage. Knocked on advantage.
Jeremy Lockman has knocked that on. Scarlets ball though right on that Munster try line. Good drive forward. Ball is there. Can they finish from that kind of distance? Steph Evans knows his way to the try line. He's got support out wide. Back inside. Oh, that's finished off really nicely. Evans has got the ball down, and the Scarlets, right at the death, do find their way to the Munster try line. we might just have one check
So I've got a
upstairs.
clear grounding. So on-field decision was try, but we need to check for touch.
Yeah, touch
Brian,
on the
on-field
far side
decision,
is the
try.
issue. On-field
Just need to check if
decision,
there was a foot
as you
and
hear
touch
from
in the
Sean
legal
Gallagher,
place.
try.
Okay, on-field decision is try. We're just checking for the touchline. Okay, stand by.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Steph Evans out to Lucy now. Where are his feet in relation to touch?
Yeah, Sean, I have a decision for you.
Yeah, go on ahead.
Yeah, he's not in touch, so you can award the try if you've
Okay.
got a grounding. Yeah.
So on-field decision is good. Try, score.
Try is good.
Thanks, Brian.
All started from this position. A little bit loose. He did well though, Evans. So alert. He did well, Lucy, to stay infield.
But to free his hands as well and get the ball away, it was lovely skill from.
Final act of the game. Oh, he struck that really, really nicely. Excellent conversion. It's a case of too little, too late. The Steph Evans try for the Scarlets, who were under the cosh for significant periods of the game and never really in the contest once Munster began to go through the gears. They got their noses in front with that Coombs try, and then two further tries in the first half from Shane Daly and Niall Scannell. Kevin O'Byrne with the bonus point try for Munster after half time. So Munster get the job done at Thomond Park in Limerick. Final score tonight, it's Munster 28, the Scarlets 10. And that man's involvement and his deserving accolade of Guinness Player of the Match, very much the highlight for Munster. Good to see him back, and as you said, Liam, not only tonight does he change the picture, but he could have such a big influence for Munster looking ahead potentially to that final, and the dynamic that he brings just to ask the question potentially of Leinster.
Yeah, he seems to have so many keys in his pocket. They can unlock many doors, but it's just like obviously he's work rate on the tackles. He was working hard. He's kicking out of hand was very clever, and his kicking off the deck was good. But it's just when there's something that's not on, he can run up a corridor and seem to avoid getting a square on hit and just create space for others. And I think that's probably the greatest gift he can give this team. It's the space he creates for others to maximise. So it's up to his teammates to realise that and make the most of it. But that's probably the best part of his game, is the opportunity he'll create for other players.
15 wins in 17 matches this season for Munster, 5 in a row, as I said, from that defeat to Leinster here back in January. So they've responded well once again, despite the 7 or 8 changes that they've had to make week on week. And as Liam said, so many key players who've been very good, particularly in this competition, in a really rich vein of form. You think of Mike Healy, excellent again tonight, so composed. Gavin Coombs. And the halfbacks very accomplished again. Nick McCarthy with a good performance now. Not quite an armchair ride, but it was always going to be difficult for the Scarlets coming here, missing so many key players: Wyn Jones, Ken Owens, Jake Ball, Liam Williams, etc, etc. Well, Damien D'Alende in conversation, but right now the conversation we want to hear is between Joey Carberry and Shane Dawson pitchside.
Joey, congratulations, you're tonight's Guinness Player of the Match, and we've your captain Billy Holland here to present you with your medal.
Thanks, bud.
Joey, I think that makes it 5 starts here at Thomond Park and 3 Man of the Match awards. Pretty remarkable. How good is it to be back, and how good is it to be starting for Munster again?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Obviously conditions weren't great today, but we're delighted to come out. We were using this as kind of another step towards the final. So yeah, on a personal note, I'm so glad to be back out there, and it was so nice to get 60 minutes and be back here.
And you turned on the style as well for Shane Daly's try. Was it good to just be free again and being able to make those line breaks?
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. But yeah, like, it was great to be back out there and kind of get back into the flow of things.
What's going through your head at those moments as well? Because you've been through such a tough journey, you know, when you're getting that freedom on the park, like what is it mentally like?
I suppose, like, it happens so quick you don't really notice it. So you kind of just back all your training and stuff before, and you kind of just let it go. So yeah, it was nice to get Shane in there and nice to get the ball back in my hands.
You mentioned the difficult conditions. You wouldn't think it's a swirling wind and torrential rain, 100% from the kicking tee. Was it difficult to mentally prepare yourself and, you know, to follow through with the action as well, taking those kicks?
Yeah, I suppose so. But no matter the conditions, you kind of go back to your technique and you just try and do what you always do. That's what I did, and I was lucky enough to get them over.
So it's a goal now, stay injury free, and hopefully start the final.
Definitely.
Well done tonight, Joey.
Thanks, guys.